Hi, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to look at SOLIDS 2025 and how we can adjust our blank sizes. So here we've got a part. I'm just going to delete the flat pattern just so we can see it fully. I'm going to go to Tools and Flatten. I find it useful to have flatten at the top here, just makes that quicker. And here we've got our value, 194.23. Quite often we will create this, we'll bend it and it won't be the right size, and somebody will say this needs to be this size. So we've got a few different ways we can do this. So if we just click back on ordered on there, move our model to the one side, so I've got the 3D mouse to make that a little bit easier. Right click and choose variables. When we go into our variable table it's going to look like this. If we choose this button here, structured view, that's going to make life a little bit easier. It's going to put all of our model sizes up here and everything else down here. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger to make sure we can see all this. Here we've got a neutral factor. We can use this to go and change the flat pattern. What's quite cool is we've got a button up here called update, so we can go and change this and see how this is going to affect my flat pattern. So if I'm told I want the flat pattern to be 198, I can go in there and I can go say 0.5 and then choose update, and that's going to show 195.84. So let's try 0.7578. I'm going to go on there and choose update. 198, so let's go 0.72 and then update. This is kind of awkward because we've got to kind of try and figure out what we're doing. Another thing we can do here is also check, so say this needs to be 202. I can actually find on there that we can't get any higher than 200.55 by setting that to 1. So we would need to do that another way, which we'll look at in a minute. So I'm going to set that back to 0.33 or 0.4, which may be our default one, and update that again. So we need that to be 198. So we can see that we've got our neutral factor, our flat pattern, cut size X. Those are the values I want to look at. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into my inspect tab and choose goal seek. This is going to open this little dialog box. And my goal on there is the flat pattern cut size X. Shows our current size, so we know it's right because that's our size on there, and our value that we're going to change, our variable we're going to change is neutral factor, and our target is 198. So if we do that and then click accept, that's going to do like a trial and error, changing that until we find that on there. If while it's working you choose deselect, that will come out. We can also choose how many iterations and how long it's going to take. It might be that it's a lot more complex than what we've looked at here. So if we close that and go, let's come back out of there and then go back to variables, we can see that that value is 0.73, so I was very close with that size that I went on there. Doesn't necessarily mean it's 0.73, we're only seeing that to do 2 decimal places. Obviously we can go to units and go and change that if we want to see what the exact value is on there. But what happens if we want this to be bigger? Well, we can't really go and change the model. We could temporarily change the model, make it a little bit bigger maybe, or there are a few other things that we can do on here. So if I go into my flatten, so if I click on the flatten on there, and I want this to be a little bit bigger, if we go on here and we look at these options, we try and choose move faces, and I select on there, we've only got this option for body, so we can't really kind of do what we want. Okay, so we're in the flat pattern. So in here we've got the option to create a tab. So if I create a tab on here, and I'm going to choose rectangle by 3 points, it kind of makes sense because I can just choose the two endpoints and make that bigger by the size that I want on there. So now I've done the one, let's go and do another one on the other side as well. And then close that, and that's going to create additional information on either side. So you can see that our overall size has now grown to 202, which is the size that we need. Doesn't always work with more complex geometry though, so we do have to kind of be careful. So if I wanted to kind of make that bend longer, I wouldn't necessarily be able to do that correctly on there. So what we've got, there's another option we can do. So I'm going to go and remove that tab. I'm going to save this part as it is. I'm then going to go and create a new part. This is going to be a sheet metal component. I'm going to make sure I'm in ordered modelling, and then I'm going to go to the clipboard and I'm going to go part copy, and I'm going to go and find that component I've just been working with. Okay, so we found that, and we're going to open that in. We've got this dialog box, so we've got these different parameters we can do. So we're going to choose flat pattern, I'm going to select OK, and finish. Because we've brought this in, we've now got options where we can go and do what we're going to do here. So we can do move faces, and we've got the option where we can choose face. So we use a view cube to rotate this. Go and select the faces I want to move, accept, and then do a synchronous change, and make that a little bit bigger on there as well. Okay, so next, before we can turn this into a flat pattern, we need to just make sure this is sheet metal. So if we go to Tools, and then we click on this option and click on Face, that's going to go and turn that into a sheet metal. It's going to give us a little error saying that it can't really do it because it can't, because it's really already a sheet metal. And then we can choose Flatten and Edge. Obviously it's not really going to flatten it because it's already flat. And then we've then got our option, so we can go save as flat, and we can go and save that as our DXF. That will be associative back to the original part. So if we go back to here and change that on there, so I'm going to do a little mod. Let's go and change the bend radius on here. Let's change that to 6, see if that's going to allow me to do that. That's quite a cool little change. And let's go and have a look at these flanges. I want to make a little change on these flanges. So let's go on to there. We've got that on there. So I'm going to just change that to say 60. Okay, let's see if one of the other side is associative. Doesn't seem to be. So let's make sure that we select that one. Just trying to find that one, so I'm just going to double click. That's going to give us our flange. Okay, we're all good. Flat pattern. Save that, go back to there. It's going to tell us to update, and that's going to go and update on there. And it's going to give us our new sizes based on that as well. Okay, so hopefully that will give you a few options for customizing those flat pattern sizes.